Oh
it's
my
time
god, that
to
fucking
fly.
song, dude.
Dude.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Underrated Podcast. This is a brand new podcast where we discuss the films that we feel are underrated or perhaps underappreciated or even ones that have just slipped under the radar, passing most people by. My name is Ariel and I'm joined by my brother Sergio.
Hello.
And our friends Alan and Fred.
Hey.
Hey, what up?
And Derek.
Yo, what up?
And together we are the Undercast Company. Today we are going to be talking about Titan AE, a 2000 animated film about a post-apocalyptic world where Earth was destroyed by aliens trying to eliminate humans before we became destructive trash.
The Dredge.
Well, that's not relevant at all. The film starred Matt Damon, Bill Pullman, John Leguizamo, Nathan Lane, and Drew Barrymore. The show was directed and written by Don Bluth, who may not be well known by his name, but definitely by his
people
work.
People know Don Bluth. People know Don Bluth.
Yeah, didn't
Okay.
he do a?
He did every good non-Disney animated movie from the 80s and 90s.
So,
Yeah,
so
and
to
then
name a few.
Didn't he do a? What's that fucking game? I'm sorry. Dragon's Lair.
Yes,
Was
he
that
did.
him?
Yeah, and he's coming back. So, like they said, he's known by somewhat other underrated animated classics such as The Secret of Nim, An American Tale, The Land Before Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven, Rock-a-Doodle, and Anastasia. So,
Wow.
this film received mild reviews with a 6.6 on IMDb and a not certified fresh, sorry, and a
Certified
51 score on Rotten Tomatoes. With about an $80 million budget, this movie, which is not surprising as this was one of the first showings of 3D computer animation created, it did not do too well in the box office with an earning of only $36.8 million. A possible reason that this movie might have been underrated was because it was a break away from the straightforward, more child-appealing animation films that mainly existed at this time. This movie has more of a teenage or adult level content, and its themes of human genocide, not too vibrant environment that seem to have been inspired by dystopian films such as The Matrix that came out a year before this one, and even showing cartoon ass.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I was
See
surprised
Matt
about
Damon's
that.
cartoon ass in this movie.
Yeah. So besides these differences from Disneylandia aesthetics, how can we not mention the then modern alt rock soundtrack that infamously included a track titled Higher by a little Christian rock band named Creed.
Yeah, I think that was in the trailer and the credits, right?
Trailer in the
Yeah,
credits, but
holy
it's
shit.
famously tied to this movie.
Yeah, there's
by anybody who just hears Titan AE. Oh, can you take
Oh, fuck
me
yeah.
That's not the song. There's
higher?
one song in particular that I think of when I think of this movie, and that's the scene when they're fucking flying through the Wake Angels, and it's just like,
Oh
it's
my
time
god, that
to fly.
fucking song,
Dude, when I was a kid and I had this on VHS, I would fucking rewind that and just watch that shit over and over. That was my fucking jam back in the day, and I still love it.
I was
My
not a
jam,
fan of it. I fucking
was higher
cringed.
It's my time to fly.
I did not like that movie.
And
Right
I-
on target.
I recently got
fucking
remembered
forgot
before.
how I felt about it, so I was like, yeah. And then when I saw that scene, I was like, yeah, I remember. now.
What about
Fucking A.
when you guys said Titan AE? I was like, I've never heard of that movie before. And then when I watched it, I was like, oh, repressed memories. Yep, putting it back in the vault again.
Yeah, so let's get some general consensus on this movie. So, what do you guys think?
This was a welcome return to my childhood. This movie came out when I was 10, and I fucking loved it then, and I loved going back to it now. Sometimes, you know, and movies, when you go back and you watch the movies you loved as a kid, they don't hold up. And I see Fred laughing because I don't think he liked it that much, but I fucking thought it was phenomenal. Like, and I remember like watching this movie when I was a kid, and I really there's a lot to love about this movie. It is kind of like weird at first to see the kind of 2D, 3D animation because it's like an intro. This is like before you get really what dominates now the 3D computer animated landscape of every movie, and then it was the 2D stuff, and it's kind of like an interesting transition movie in that regard. I really, like Don Bluth, as Ariel said, has done so many classics that I just fucking love. Obviously, the soundtrack is cool. I really think that, it is a pretty complex kids movie. Like, it has some darker themes, like betrayal, genocide, obviously,
He laughs at genocide.
You say complex themes for a kids movie.
Like genocide.
And that's why I think this. I don't think, even though I watched this as kids. Okay, that going into that, I think 90s kids. Okay, we could consider because the cartoon 90s kids movie.
Only 90s kids will remember this.
Higher level.
Slap Lions.
It had like a higher. We had some messed up movies as kids.
And I remember reading Animator. That shit was fucked up.
And I wish more kids had these kind of movies because they would actually not.
It's
not talking about my brother who. No, he is sometimes a dick.
What?
What?
Oh, shots
no,
fired.
because
Shots
just because
fired.
kids kind of like some kids have this. Whatever. I just sometimes use kids.
No,
What are you talking about?
Today's
in the
kids.
No, it's in the
It's
sense
the
of like,
youths.
Kids
like,
these
like,
days.
like, no, like for example, like if you watch like old cartoons like Ren and Stimpy and Rocko's Modern Life, that stuff doesn't come around anymore for like the young kids. They don't get it with like the innuendo in those shows that like if you were to watch it now as an adult,
I mean, there's some like you watch Adventure Time. There's some fucking shit in there. You watch like those shows. It's still in there. It's sneaky.
Yeah.
but I mean, as much as it used
Dude,
to be, like, it
Chowder
seemed like
was fucking
Chowder was
so
a shit.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chowder was
it
a
was
shit.
like
Like
that.
shows like Flapjack and stuff. I know Flapjack's a couple years old.
I think
Flapjack's fucking
I think
dumb.
we're
I
going
didn't
into
get
a
that shit.
tangent
Yeah,
but I
but-
think Cartoon Network has kept their cred. But other than that, this movie even though it is considered a kids movie, it does have that those dark elements
the
to it.
prologue is the whole world blowing up and a kid losing his father and like it's dark, but it's kind of like anime-esque, where it's like it has these kind of darker undertones for this on the surface kids movie. But I do think as an adult I can still appreciate it for a lot of these reasons. But I do think, interestingly enough, like you had mentioned, this movie was a financial disaster, like not a bomb, like it did poorly. Like this movie literally closed down a studio. Like Fox Animation Studios was doing poorly already. This movie came out and it did so bad that Fox closed its door. This was the last ever Fox Animation Studios movie. Fox Animation closed its doors literally 10 days after this movie came out.
That's what they get.
I mean, no, because I think
I don't think that's what it's a great movie, but
it's
didn't connect
also
with
follows
audiences.
the tread of the other previous movie with Anastasia, which is also
Anastasia was a shit.
I put it as
I liked
underrated
it.
too.
Hold yourself back for a second.
As an underrated animated film too.
I love it. I think that the characters are
Anastasia is
interesting. Like
technically not.
Anastasia and a lot of other Don Bluth movies, the characters are kind of interesting and complex. You've got Corso, who's he's kind of alliances change back and forth. The movie, he does come around at the end, but he is kind of a skeevy character. He starts as a good guy, becomes a bad guy. At the end, he sacrifices himself. But I really like a lot of the concepts are interesting, like having an alien race that is just literally made of energy. That's something I've not seen in any other movies, and I think it's really cool and creative in the way they use that. It's not just an aesthetic choice, because that actually ties into the finale. That's how they are able to power the Titan and make it, is they use the force of the aliens, and it's really kind of just a lot of smart stuff. Also, I love that, like, whenever there's like a ragtag crew of people like Firefly or anything like that, and they just got to get these whoever's around in space.
Joss Whedon was on the script.
Yeah, he was kind of like a famous script doctor in the 90s. He worked on Toy Story and a lot of these movies you don't really think about. Like he did touch up the script.
And then
it's
he
kind of
lost
like Wall-E
his
before Wall-E,
ability
honestly. This
with BVS.
well, there's a lot of
Justice
problems with
League,
that,
chill.
but- Yeah, that
Oh,
was
Justice
BVS,
League. I'm
but-
sorry.
BVS is a classic.
Yeah. And I love the characters, though, like
Love it.
Goon is great. And, of course, as a kid, I had a huge crush on Akima, this purple-haired, beautiful Asian girl voiced by Drew Barrymore.
That's the one thing. Okay, I mean, I know it was back then,
Yeah.
but now I'm thinking, I was like, oh, it's Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're like, that's Drew Barrymore.
No, but she's voicing a Asian
Yeah,
character.
that's kind of weird. Also, I do like there is like, at least in terms of characters in the movie, there is a lot of diversity, amongst the humans. They go to, especially when they go to New Bangkok, you see a lot of diversity in the human race. It's just kind of like whoever survived is up here. There's people speaking Mandarin, and there's like Hispanic and black kids up on this colony. It's just humanity just trying to survive. They don't care about their differences.
Oh yeah, which is cool because seeing different races races of the human species surviving, like putting aside their differences and surviving, while at the same time they're facing discrimination from other alien races. We see Cal, that's his name, right? Cal?
Yeah,
Kale. Okay, Kale. On his, when he's 20 years, when he's all grown up, he's getting discriminated. He's getting made, bullied because he's a human, which is, racism. But it's like in space, so it's like spacism.
Spacism.
It's really nice to hear somebody actually bring up the true injustice of spacism.
All right, Fred,
not many people
go ahead and tell us what you think of the movie, because I know you might not agree with us.
No, and I don't. I didn't want to like it as a kid. Not that, I mean, it's not that it's not a okay movie. Like, it's okay. And it's got good subjects, but I'll be real. It just wasn't my cup of tea at the time for those movies. Could people watch it and people like it? Yeah. You're gonna have people that are gonna like it, like just like you guys. You guys really enjoyed it. But yeah, that wasn't my thing at that time to watch. And there was stuff there, but it never got me like hooked. Like the aliens were energy. I mean, I get it that you say that it's cool, and I'm just like, I almost feel like, well, I almost feel like at the end they were like, well, how do we get rid of the alien that they can't kill? They're just gonna keep coming at them. Oh, well, they're energy, so they just simply become the battery. So fuck it, there you go, you're done with aliens.
I thought that tied in really thematically, and it worked really well because
no, and I get it, but I'm just saying like the feeling that I had when I saw it, I was like, oh, well, they're just fucking batteries. At the end, boom, boom, done. We got like 10 seconds to end this movie. How do we end it? They're batteries. Not that it's a bad thing. Like I said, you saw it in a different light than I did, and that's cool. I'm just saying, like, as a little thing, I would have preferred them to like maybe destroy them instead of you. I mean, like, I know they got destroyed, and they in the end, the bad guy now became the thing that made the planet.
But you know what?
I just wanted them to be like, I killed all you guys, done.
I think that though also goes in with the because like I remember when the movie came out, fucking the marketing for this movie was insane.
Oh yeah,
I fucking saw the poster
Would
everywhere.
you say it was
like
at a higher
Earth,
level?
This begins.
than
higher
normal?
level, yeah. Dude, they took that shit higher. Fucking, oh my god, dude, that fucking song was everywhere. Like when I text the group, I was like, oh my god, like I was trying to just sit and think about the movie before I watched it. Fucking Creed. That's all I can think about. I was like, I can't remember this movie. Like, I forgot about the aliens. But I remember they were like putting in all the money into it because I think they legit wanted to make this a franchise.
Well, the thing, especially the marketing and the music. It's me being younger and seeing this movie nearly 2 decades later.
Almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Because this is the first time you saw it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I saw a little bit on TV before, but this is the first time I sat down and watched it. The music is very distractingly of its time.
It's very early 2000s.
Oh,
that's the one thing where I'm like, the music isn't great, but it's very nostalgic.
I didn't have that nostalgia, so when I saw it, I was just kind of laughing.
Even as a kid, when I watched some of these movies and they had shit like that, I would cringe. I was like, I don't like this.
Yes.
But because like when I watched, it was not my scene. Because like I would watch older movies, or movies that were for like a higher rating. And then I think at the time when I was like 10 or 11, that's when I started getting into like horror and stuff like that. So I was watching more mature stuff. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, stop.
Yeah, it's kind of all the alt that came out like after the grunge movement was kind of like, dying.
And that's where I was like mainly brought up with that kind of music. So for me, this was also with that music a nostalgic trip, but also I'm like, oh yeah, that's the music I listen to. It's just better, a little bit different, but I have an eclectic thing. But yeah, that music was definitely part of my iPod collection at the time.
The original iPod with the big wheel on it.
Yeah.
Hey, I have iPod video. I didn't have the original, but yeah.
I think to go back to the whole thing with Fred, well, like not killing them and using them as energy.
Mhm.
I think that was part of the franchise thing. I think they were like, okay, we're not gonna say they're dead because they're energy. I feel like they were trying to be like, we can bring them back in a sequel or something.
I might disagree a little because I feel like this movie is just
It
like a
was
standalone.
self-contained.
I don't think
Yeah,
that there's
yeah,
a sequel.
self-contained.
I don't see how you could even do a sequel to this, and like because I think that they did kind of like. Otherwise, how do you can't beat these guys?
A
like
new
they
alien race comes out and you
Their
blow up
energy.
that Earth, and then we
but,
start all
but
over
I'm
again.
like, they
Yeah,
keep
they can
like
just
harping
come
on
back
you
and-
can't beat the Dredge. They're pure energy. That's like a line from the movie. They blow up the world of the first scene of the movie. So it's like, how do you beat them? You know, like
So-
how do you just go and like if you could just go and fight them, then they should have just done that at the beginning of the
They-
movie. You
yeah,
gotta
the problem that
have a creative way to beat them.
The only problem that I see here is how come the Energizer Bunny didn't come out and help?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
And also in that same vein, I like that they it is in the ice nebula, and that's how you get all the like water for the new Earth because you need a lot of fucking water. And you see like yeah, you even see like the comets kind of like disintegrating. I thought I didn't catch that as a kid, but I thought that was really clever.
So that was one thing that I noticed like watching it now is that there's not a lot of scientific elements, but it's mainly sci-fi, of course, but there's certain scientific elements like the hydrogen trees and
that was so fucking cool.
Now with the ice planet and needing water, it's like there are these like very rooted in real science elements in this movie that were pretty cool.
Effort, you know, to like be like, okay, like well, you like this, like it makes logical sense, you know.
Yeah,
It might not like
the
most
spacesuits. The space.
but it
Now
is-
thinking back,
makes sense.
like the spacesuits themselves were kind of like built on like existing human kind of like things like that of like technology that we've had, and it made it a bit more believable.
Yeah. And I like the look of the spacesuits and stuff a lot too. They don't look like any spacesuits I've really seen in anything else. They're kind of like square,
but they're
than
more
round.
realistic in that way because, like, if you look at 60s spacesuits, they are kind of like boxes and things like that.
I thought that was cool.
So yeah, in that element, it's kind of like there's elements where it's pretty believable with if you take the whole alien species element out.
One question. What the fuck? Why were the Dredge so hell-bent on killing humans?
Because the humans were... They saw that the humans were going to basically destroy space.
No.
What?
I think it was they were worried, not that they were going to destroy, they were just worried that humans had so much potential and that like humanity would overtake them as such a
You
powerful
think so?
race.
Or it's just, because humans.
Yeah, they were just like worried about
nature.
humans because like, you know, like that's a kind of a trope in like media, like humans are kind of like the most creative race. And,
No,
like, the
well,
bad
I think
guys
it's
are always...
I think it's a trope in a lot of sci-fi and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, no, well, in the negative sense, saying that humans are
yeah, it's always
destructive
very
It is-
and they
that's
have
another-
and they're
that's a
going to
separate trope,
destroy
though.
themselves.
That's
the trope.
The
that they're
trope I'm
using.
talking about is like, you know, the bad guys are worried about humans because they have such creativity and they have such potential. They haven't reached it yet, but humans have like the potential because they can come up with all these great things, and that's why they were worried about the Dredge. I think there's even a throwaway line in the beginning, like, why did they do it? Oh, it's because they were worried about the potential. We didn't do anything to them. It's like they're worried about
that's the
our
line,
potential.
yeah.
You know that because
But we
humans
must
are
reach
very
the
creative.
tiger.
We are, you know, like
Destructive.
well, I don't think that's what they were going for in the movie, though. Like, there's a lot of movies that would play on that. I don't think that's what this movie was saying. This movie is about how they have the power to create, and that's, you know, the end of the movie. That's what the Titan's all about. Is we have this power to like kind of create a new planet. That's something that nobody's ever done before. And they're worried, like, oh, humans are just going to go around creating planets and, you know, populating the solar system. We want to be the dominant race. We want to make sure that humans aren't going around making these new planets, spreading out for themselves. We're just going to stop them here while they still have one planet.
Yeah, so the main thing is that they saw them as some kind of threat for sure.
Because like I remember like when I was watching it, maybe I just didn't hear it, but I was just like halfway through, I was like, man, what the fuck? Like they're really like angry at people. But
I feel you.
I heard that they.
I was like, why are they so pissed?
I don't know. I think it was literally just one line where they said the real reason. I just heard.
They're
I just
like,
remember.
fuck humans, and that was it.
they're a threat, and so that's why I was like, oh, are they a threat to others or
I
to
think the
them?
Dredge just are, you know,
So,
want to be on top.
Yeah, and it just seems like they weren't fucking with anybody else. Like I mean, like those like bat alien things.
No,
Well, 'cause
they,
they
were
were
just
just
going
like,
after
we're just here for the humans
for
and
sure.
that's it.
Yeah, they were just
Mm-hmm.
hanging out on their planet. They're not, you know, creating Titan technology.
Mhm.
The problem was they found out Tesla was going to start making electric cars, and they got scared.
They're like,
They're
oh,
gonna
fuck
put us in the
that.
cars.
They're gonna explode.
They're going to put us
We
in those
can't have
cars.
that.
They're going to put us in those cars, and I'm not driving somebody around.
Or the underground freeway.
Oh, there you go. But no, it's like it's a good movie though. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a good movie. I think it still holds up pretty decent. It can be a little jarring every once in a while. I don't know if it was like almost like a 3D-ish cartoons every once in a while.
Yeah,
Kind
I
you
fucking
definitely
That takes a
hate
little while to get
that.
accumulated
Yeah,
to, because it is a 3D combination with 2D.
Yeah,
Because it was
yeah.
kind of when 3D was in its infancy,
Yeah.
and like
So-
was Don Bluth trying to do something kind of
So-
new.
And
And-
then there's
and-
a lot of other movies that
No,
are like
and
that.
I don't think you could do this movie and with its wide scope and have it all be 2D animation.
No,
Oh, you
that's what I'm
can.
saying.
You
No, but that's what I'm saying
fucking
because
can.
it's,
Yeah, but it'll
yeah.
take 20 years, and the studio's already
Akira,
going
man.
bankrupt anyway.
They did it with Akira. You can do it.
Yeah, the Japanese are pretty
I'm
good. at doing that
very,
stuff.
I'm very like
But-
anti CG.
But I mean, it still holds up a little bit, maybe because of the little CG that it has that I could give. But it is a little jarring every once in a while.
I
Like
think-
as you first get into it, once you're
Once you get
into
used
it,
to it, it
yeah.
actually kind of looks cool because like the space stuff, it really works for the space stuff.
yeah,
you know?
it's more like when you see the people talking and they're like interact, like where you would
Yeah.
feel like the
Yeah.
humans are supposed to look a certain way, like the space itself and the spaceships going through space
Mhm.
looks cool. But it's like when the person is outside and you see his face in space, you kind of get this weird
Yeah.
a weird feel.
a
Every once in a while.
little uncanny valley-ish, you know, but
But like
it
I
does
said-
kind of give you like, okay, this is like a human and this is like the
Yeah.
great
I don't know, but
expansive space.
You could do that. There's foreground, middle ground, background. I think that whole mixture of 2D and 3D animation does contribute to its datedness because a lot of times it's either 2D or 3D. When you have that mixture
Yeah.
of both, it just looks weird, and super like the people are superimposed into 3D environments,
Yeah.
and because of that, I think that's why that's part of the reasons is why it's dated. And also, yeah, there was a lot of other movies that were like that, or like Treasure Planet. And I think Atlantis was like that too.
Not
Yeah.
really. No, I don't think so.
I don't think
I'd have
Atlantis
to
was
I think
go back and
Atlantis
rewatch
was
Atlantis,
actual,
but
like,
it's pretty much just
really-
2D, I
Yeah,
think.
that's cool. Yeah, but the thing is that 2D will always hold up if it's a consistent style. Hand drawn, that will
I
always
don't
hold
know.
up.
Watch like those old Boris and.
Well, look at Lion King and then Lion King.
Yeah.
Lion King still holds up, while
Yeah,
this new
that's
Lion
true.
King will be dated in a few years. When
Oh, yeah.
that
I
technology,
actually agree
when
on
that particular
Like, some of the old
technology
drawn
progresses,
Disney movies are
because
a lot.
I always make this joke whenever I look at the new like Lion King trailers. I always like imagine that before the trailers it says the following was captured on a PlayStation 4 Pro. It's like, all right, well I guess we'll just gotta wait for the PS5 to release, and we'll see how good that looks.
For me, I'm not gonna lie though. Like I'm super like hand drawn. I love hand drawn. So for me, like I forgot about the CGI, and at the end of the movie when the new Earth is like born or whatever,
Mhm.
oh man, they could have at least drawn the grass they were on.
Yeah,
that
no,
shit was
there,
bad.
So I did catch it. Yeah, there was it looked like there was a shot where it was not rendered.
No, it looked
Uh-huh.
like it reminded
But-
me of those like sand beasts from like the Star Wars when they
When they
A
did
New
it-
Hope, when they just remade it, like they added the CGI. It reminded me of those like beasts with the
But-
stormtroopers.
You know
So-
what it also reminded me of when Superman's mustache was trying to get taken off.
That is the worst.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah.
But now hearing from what Derek said about the problems with the studio, that probably was the reason why.
Yeah, they were literally running out of money while
They're-
they were making this movie.
And
Stay
so
with
you gotta
fucking
give it
hand-drawn.
to
You would have been okay.
to them that they went all out, and that you were using this technology that were new to entertainment and overall. And for me, that gives me I appreciate it, because back then, like, they were on the cusp of new technology, and while now it has become outdated because the refinery of this technology and creation of new technology has made it a lot better. But for me, it will always stay as like one of those first instances of that
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
movie.
interestingly, at the time, people really liked the visuals. That's the one thing, because it has like a 51% on Rotten Tomatoes, but and like the reviews were critical of a lot of plot elements, but they were like, oh wow, look at this, it's really cool, the visuals. Like even on the description for Rotten Tomatoes, the first thing it says is great visuals. But then the story feels like a cut and paste job out of other sci-fi movies. I'm like, you got that backwards.
I can kind of agree with that too.
Really, I do agree with Derek on that. Well, okay, I'll explain later, but go on.
Oh no, I was just saying, but like I think this is what I was gonna get at earlier. Before we started, my biggest thing that kind of bothered me was when they're on New Bangkok, and they're like, "Yeah, we got a ship, it might not fly." I was like, "Are these fools literally gonna build this shit like by themselves? These two characters?" And then the whole fucking thing, everyone helps them out, and I'm like, these people are way too nice. I'm like, I could have assumed like a handful of people might have been like, yeah, bro, let me help you build a spaceship.
No.
To save
No.
humanity.
You don't understand.
No,
Wait.
You don't. They
You know
get
what bothered me was this. So they're there, and we got a spaceship that doesn't work. We don't know if it's going to work. And then all of a sudden, two people out of nowhere go, well, let's try to fix it. And then the whole town goes, you know what? Maybe we should fix it. Fuck
Yeah,
it, I guess.
what the
I'm
fuck?
like, what? You guys, that means you guys could have done this shit
Just
anytime.
save
Yeah, they
That's
could have.
okay,
that's
No,
true.
and then
Yeah, they didn't need a ship.
Yeah, they didn't have a strong white man to lead them into
Yeah,
the future.
exactly.
But that's true. I understand. Yeah, when
No,
you think
but-
about it like that, it's like, why didn't you do that before?
But
Why
even
would
then,
they
I
need
was
they
like,
didn't need a ship before.
True,
You know?
but I'm just saying,
true.
like,
well, to go. I guess that's true because they needed to go find the Titan, and they find the Titan, they get a new home. So, but still, like somebody would have been motivated. But that's
dude.
that's not a make or break thing for
No,
For
I was
me,
just saying,
that's just like- it's just
one of
those little
questions that you
things.
wonder, like,
it's
well,
just
how
those
come-
little things in
like
the
you
plot.
know what I would have liked to see is maybe if they were working on the ship a little, and it's not even a big thing.
Yeah.
It's like, don't get me wrong, like this has nothing to do with the movie. I was just saying maybe if they were working on the ship or something, and these guys come in and they're like, no, but we have the knowledge to finish it, and then I would have been like, oh, okay, well, makes sense. But all of a sudden, there's like the town of people that I assume didn't know jack shit,
Yeah, exactly.
are like fixing the ship with two people that are supposed to, in my mind, know how to fix a ship. That's where I was like, what the hell?
Well, he knows how to fix it, and she knows how to fly it, and together they make.
I can fix
the
it if you
Voltron
can
team.
fly it.
Exactly.
No, I can
Oh,
fly
I
it.
can fly.
no, and then my other gripe with it was that nobody fucking joined them.
Oh
You-
yes, yeah.
You would have
Yeah.
thought.
I would have
okay,
thought somebody
okay,
would have
check
left
this.
from
Check
the
this.
town.
Wait. Let me just
Because
explain
we're
my
saving
problem with it.
humanity.
No. My problem with it was okay. I was like, okay, fuck it. The whole town wants to help. How is everybody completely on board with putting all their fucking eggs in one basket? They're like, these two strangers rolled the fuck up. They're gonna go. They're gonna have a magic machine that's gonna create the world again.
I don't think they
And-
really said that what they were actually going to
Yeah,
do.
they didn't even say what the fuck they were doing. They were just like, we can take the ship, and they're like, okay, but hey, can you help us build the ship? I would have been like,
It was
what
a
the
it was a
fuck?
montage to
think they
some
knew.
90s alt rock. So we
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah,
what was going
Oh,
on.
yeah.
But then what me and my girlfriend we were watching together. What made us laugh is that when they're leaving the new Bangkok, it's kind of fucking rough to get out of there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, imagine these fuckers are like, okay, so we're gonna take off. Nobody joins them for no reason. No one's like,
No.
oh, dude, what if they fail?
What regular person wants to go on a possible
To
death
leave New
mission?
Bangkok. It's a
They are
fucking
fine
rocket.
on
Hang on,
New
hang on.
Bangkok.
No.
I would like to
But-
say
because they did leave.
No, hang on.
Look,
I would like to say the main character did, because if I'm not mistaken, he's living a normal life, and not a good life, but a normal life. Because he even goes, "I am not gonna go and help you on your quest. I'm just gonna live my life like a normal person."
but he would
Yeah.
have been executed by the
Yeah,
judge.
well, yeah, but then they, that's the reason why he runs. But I'm just saying, one normal man with a normal life was like, "Hey, my
But-
pops died. I've been living a normal life. I'm not doing any of this
Yeah,
stuff."
but I'm surprised nobody was like,
Because
hey,
they were
bro,
just
fuck
like,
it.
oh, all right, that's some dangerous shit. I see you there.
Hey.
Good luck.
No, but
Good
how
luck,
did
man.
not one person who was like, hey, you know what, bro?
Like the kid
I
kicking
wanna
the soccer
go-
ball.
Yeah, what if he was like, hey, what if they make it, or what? Maybe they need help. Nobody left
Nope.
with them,
Do you guys
and then
think they went back for Tone Loc, by the way? The bug guy from the beginning? You know,
fuck.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
No, he's
Hell
dead.
No,
they're
he's dead. You know he's
that fool
dead.
died. No, but
they
then,
capped him and he was gone. The last thing you got
cooked
to
his
see was a
ass.
mouth
oh shit,
falling.
right.
and then, and then my biggest thing that made me laugh was like, they take off. There's a lot of shit in the way. What if she's not that great at flying?
No,
Or
not
what
the
if-
But
not the
she
cook. By the
is.
way, sorry, this was
No.
He's not the bug. He's not the bug cook. You know,
the-
Tone Loc. He's
yeah,
got
yeah.
this
Oh,
funky
yeah,
Cold
when
Medina.
they
He's
took
like
care of him.
got
Oh,
a
I thought
super
you-
fucking deep voice.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like
yeah.
I thought you were
he
talking
does
about
he
the
sings
cook.
fucking
Like
Cold
the blind,
Medina
like
while
the,
he's
the
like,
blind mole.
yeah,
thing.
what's up, man? It's me, Tone Loc. You know that guy.
That
You know,
guy's
I gotta
like in
think-
every '90s cartoon.
I fucking
Yeah.
love.
I
Tone
gotta,
Loc,
I gotta,
man.
I gotta think they would.
Oh no,
No,
wait,
sorry, I
wait, but
interrupted.
my last
Continue.
thing. What if they fucking? It's hard to get out of that place.
Yeah.
They immediately crash
Into the people.
into no. Well, that would have been. I would have been like, hey, 10 out
End
of
of the
10,
movie.
hilarious. But they fucking crash it right there and there,
Yeah.
and then everybody's like, wow,
Everybody
hundreds
just
of
looks at it.
hours
That would have
on
been a
work,
great ending.
and these
Yeah.
fuckers destroyed it. Cool.
You know what? I did expect it though. Honestly, I did expect that it was going to shoot straight the whole way. I
Yeah.
kind of did think it was a little funny when it started.
But no,
moving
it's
a little
surrounded by
sideways.
the ice valley.
hmm
But no, you know what? And that's the one thing I did think that maybe one of the adults there might have been like, "Hey, we're gonna roll with you or something."
Yeah, like
Just
how
'cause-
does nobody go, hey, bro? Yeah, I
mean,
got
it's,
you.
it's different.
Because
It's
they're
no big thing. It's
cowards,
different. But
dude.
I just thought somebody would because now
You
it's just
saw
two
them
guys.
pulling up to the planet after the whole thing was done at the end of the movie. They stopped. Those two were about to kiss, and then they're like, "Oh shit, they're here! Damn!"
Oh, and that fucking horrible CGI grass.
By the way, did we mention at the top the voice cast? Because the voice cast is fucking incredible.
And I bet you
Yeah,
that's why
yeah,
they
I
ran
did.
out of money.
Okay.
And I bet you that's why they ran
No,
out
yeah,
of
that
money
was
because you got to
probably
pay
part of it.
all those
'Cause
people.
these are like people that aren't usually voice actors, like Janine
Well, I mean,
Garofalo and
Matt
fucking
Damon.
Ron Perlman.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Like, Ron
all
Perlman's
those.
in
Where's
this
Ron
shit.
Perlman?
He's
the dad.
Kale's dad.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his dad.
Yeah.
That's fucking Hellboy.
But that's the thing, you got to pay these people,
Yeah.
and then you got to
real
pay for
Hellboy.
CGI
And then
that
fucking
probably
Bill
at that
Pullman,
time was
like,
super expensive.
Wait, can
That's
I-
why they
like,
went
other than
bankrupt.
John Leguizamo and Nathan Lane,
John
there's not, these people
Leguizamo.
aren't voice
John
actors.
Leguizamo.
Thank you.
Look,
Wow.
can
I don't know.
Wow.
Can I go? Damn, that's messed. Okay.
He was in Mario Brothers.
Oh, okay. Well,
He
then
was
I-
Luigi
Super
Mario.
underrated.
Yeah, he was Luigi, super underrated. And then he was in the past. At that time, he was pretty hot.
Yeah, I'm saying like those
He
two
was
were
the
voice
clown
actors.
of Spawn?
But no,
He was
no,
the
the
clown of
other
Spawn.
one.
Ice Age.
He also was in
It's
Romeo
me,
and
Sid the
Juliet.
Flaw.
Can I go back to what you're saying about how they got it flipped out, like the end, like the visuals were great, but the storyline was. I kind of agree with that. In terms, there's other movies that were doing that thing like Disney. That was kind of a fad, a passing fad, is the way I see it, like animation style. But the storyline, I say the storyline is simple on purpose because it's supposed to be like this journey adventure. They're really trying to capture that sort of boy on an adventure to save this very like space stuff, you know.
Would you say that he's in a rocket ship going through the sky? Little Einsteins?
Anyway,
10
What
seconds.
the fuck?
Wait, you guys are telling me you guys never
Yes,
heard the
we
Little Einstein
do.
song? Okay,
Old
that's why,
man, it's dead.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I was expecting like a little
What?
thing. I'm
I
so
don't know
surprised.
what
You
the
guys
fuck
Little
talking about, man.
Einsteins. Of course I
Yes,
know. I listened to that 10-hour
See,
trap
that's what-
remix to go to sleep.
There you go.
There you go. But like,
for all
Wow,
the baby
guys.
Einstein fans out there, good for you, but that's over
it's
my head.
little Einsteins.
Oh,
It's
well,
John
Sorry.
Leguizamo. But it goes. But yeah, it's that feeling of just like it's that adventurous spirit that kind of goes. It's the journey. So that some things kind of feel like, oh, this is happening because the plot says it. So like, I felt like their romance was kind of rushed. I felt like the reason that he got captured in the first place was kind of dumb. But it's like that has to happen. So okay, it's not too distractingly like off in terms of that. But I get it. That's like the kind of plot that's going. This has to happen. You know, this is the part where this happens and this happens. But this happens, so this happens. So, I mean, looking past that, the story-wise, I guess I kind of forgive it. I mean, the characters are easy to attach to. You have your goofy side characters that break up the two characters from kissing, all in any movie. But, you know, it's that kind of feeling. It's just like, yeah, I want to venture through space, and yeah, I want a hot Asian girlfriend. And then the movie ends, you're like, oh, shit, wow. I guess.
He was
Can you take me
cute girl
higher?
with purple hair, man. That was my first crush when I was one of my first crushes when I was a kid.
Bro, Jessica Rabbit.
Jessica
Hey.
Rabbit.
Bomb thick. Stupid
But-
thick.
But I mean, honestly,
Carrot
like,
cake.
why do you guys think so? This movie bombed so hard, like because it's kids. Kids will see, like Fred, you can attest. Kids will see all kinds of shit.
You would think so, but no, there's things where they'll like fucking shut it off.
So, do you think it's because this movie has kind of like darker tones that parents in the '90s were like, I don't want to take my kid to see a movie
No,
where
I
the world
don't-
gets
I don't-
blown up and there's genocide?
I want to say no. I don't think you would see it like that.
Because I know my parents were very, very protective of what I saw when I was a kid.
My parents apparently didn't care.
No, my
I mean, I
parents,
saw this. I don't think they realized that it had these dark
what was
undertones.
what was the rating though on it?
I think it's PG.
It's
Yeah, that's what I'm
PG.
saying. Like,
PG.
so like my parents were like, hey, look, you can. When I was at a certain age, every age has its own thing. So when you're a certain age, yeah, it's only G. Certain age is PG, PG-13. So a PG movie, they would have been good to go. It's a good to go movie. They're not. I mean, they're not. Yeah, there might be undertones or stuff, but those things might fly over the heads of the kids.
So then, why do you think it was?
I just don't think it.
Because it had that big marketing push.
I gotta think it just didn't attract kids. It just wasn't like it wasn't a predominantly childlike movie.
Yeah, looking back, it doesn't feel like
That's what I'm
it's a
saying.
kids movie.
I being a kid, this is 2000, so I was 8. Being a kid coming out on this, I understand. I was definitely not the kid that was normal and saw like girly things and stuff like that. And I was already at this point more into like science.
Wait, this
and-
movie came out in 2000?
yeah,
Yes.
Oh, there's a damn reason why I didn't watch this movie. In 2000,
you would have been a little older.
Yeah,
you're a
I
little
was.
older
I was
than
like
us.
15, 16 somewhere maybe. No.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I watched
No,
the
I-
trailers.
no, I
What
would've
were
been
you,
like-
like
I was
negative
double
3?
OOs.
Yeah, no, I would have been in my
was
teens. It would have been
not
in my early
negative
teens. That's why.
3,
Negative
like
1?
negative 2.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I
was
seeing
close.
the trailers as like the 0-0 at the end of the day. I was like, oh, that's funny.
You know, if this movie would have come out in the 90s,
Mhm.
I probably would have done better than it did in the 2000s. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It's the kind of. I actually thought it came out in the 90s. I didn't even check the date just by the way it looked. No, if it was the 2000, then I'm gonna start retracting.
Well, it's the year 2000, so it's like the border between those two.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about like early 90s, like early. Yeah, because it felt like when I saw it, it felt like a movie I would have seen when I was a kid, and that's why I'm surprised that. See, now if that movie would have come out when I was a kid, back when I was like 8 or 9. Then yeah, this movie probably would have been hot shit.
And see, that's why I think I like it. Because you and I have you're older than me, but we still have a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
You know, like because I was born in '89, so you know a lot of we would have watched a lot of the same stuff. You would have been ahead of me, so some stuff like this you would have been too old for.
I was born in '85,
but you know, like we both
4-year difference.
Like, but we both, you know, like for example, we talk about Power Rangers. We both watched Power Rangers when we were kids. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's a lot. I mean, a 4-year difference. You're like my sister's age.
Yeah, I get it because I'm 4 years older than my brother, so I get the 4-year difference.
But I think for 2000, this was a kind of out of place movie.
I think it's a little outdated, is what it is. Not that it's not that it's not a good movie. I just think in its place in time, it was too late in its place in time for the 2000s.
And the Don Bluth style, this was kind of like his last thing, really. He was a Disney animator in the 70s and 80s, I think, and then he kind of went off and did his own thing. It was very revolutionary for a while, and this was kind of the end of it, though.
And it was probably because of all the style that he's done, all the stuff that he's always done. And it makes sense. If you tell me when he animated, when he did his stuff, it makes sense that this movie would come from this guy. It just came too late.
Yeah, I mean, it's technically a turn of the millennia kind of movie, so there are instances where it's gonna be in that kind of like it was a stepping stone movie in style and in styles, and in story too. I would think.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I think that might have contributed to it. That it's basically because it could be seen as a stepping stone kind of movie, and in that reason, it's kind of like doesn't really belong in one or two camps.
Well, would you guys then recommend this movie?
It's a toss-up. I mean, I think there might be people that'll enjoy it. You know, I'm not bashing it to say no, don't watch it. It's I say give it a shot. Am I going to recommend it like other movies where I go, oh no, this is a must-see? It's one of those ones that I say like, well, just go ahead and watch it when you get a chance. You know, when it comes out on a rerun or something on Showtime or HBO or wherever it comes.
It was on HBO. I remember all the time. All the time.
That's what I was going to say.
It was always on HBO.
And I was going to say,
it's still on HBO.
It's on HBO.
I
checked today and like it's like Showtimes for today, for tomorrow, like next week. I was like,
that's what I'm saying. Like if it pops up, go ahead and watch it. I don't know if you should run out. But that's only because of my feeling. You know, I know I'm putting a little bit of it, but it's a good movie. But it's not mind blowing.
And obviously, I would recommend it. You know, I really like this movie. You know, it's just a great sci-fi fun adventure.
I would recommend it. It is very. Coming back to it, it is. I do recognize the nostalgia factor for myself, but it is still like I said a really pretty good scientific kind of based sci-fi movie, and a little poignant with how the Earth is, and the kind of like of having to leave Earth, probably not because of a alien race destroying Earth, but
the planet is being destroyed slowly but surely.
But yeah, and like that idea of rebuilding a new Earth is kind of like far-fetched, but still a possibility. Like of course, like with Interstellar and all that. So it's kind of like a kids movie that kind of would grasp that idea a little bit. And so, I mean, I will probably show it to my kids eventually in the long future ahead.
When you actually catch up to the year in the movie.
Oh yeah, it's like I'll never catch up.
It's 30. It's like 1,000 years in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I really want to hear Alan and then Fred or Junior, Sergio Jr. I gotta hear what you have to say, because you come in to see this for the first time. I'm very interested to hear what you have to say.
Well, I kind of agree a lot with what Fred said, because I mean it's a decent movie. It has it's got messages and it's a cool adventure. I really appreciated the whole adventure aspect, just going places and following this guy. Yeah, it's pretty dated in terms of their directorial choices, but if you look past that, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I wouldn't say go out of your way to see it. If you want an animated movie that has a good message about our planet, go watch WALL-E.
This was kind of like Wall-E before Wall-E, you know? Like in that aspect, and like it's got
Wall-E-
the environmental
Wall-E's
message,
beautiful.
and like
Wall-E's
there's
a
people
great
who
movie.
shoot. And they do the same thing where they
Wall-E
they run
had the
around
most
with
amazing
fire
love story
extinguisher.
that you would have never thought between two robots.
Between two iPhones, dude. The iPhone, Samsung made love.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I was like, finally, when the whole phone apocalypse happens and everybody really comes together, Samsung and iPhone are gonna make Samsung and Apple are gonna make the best phone ever.
Oh my god. So I'd say go watch Atlantis, then watch Treasure Planet, then
watch
watch
this one?
Funhouse, and then
We'll
watch
probably
Titan
cover
80.
those movies at some point.
Maybe if we deem those underrated. Stay tuned.
I think Atlantis
My
for sure.
boys.
I haven't seen Treasure Planet, but I need to watch it.
Yeah, I
Have
don't
you
think
seen
I saw
Treasure
Treasure
Island?
Planet.
Treasure Island.
Do you know what a
No,
planet?
Treasure Planet.
Do you
Yeah,
know
I
what a planet is?
I do know what a planet
Imagine
is.
taking that island
I know
Yes.
it's the same
and
thing, but
making it
it's
a
space.
planet,
And then giving it
There's-
treasure.
Yeah.
and then having Halo.
Treasures?
There's less
Treasures.
Muppets and more planets in this one than I'm used to.
Yes.
Alan.
I'm very like anti-kids movies. So
It's not exactly a kid's. Well,
it's very kiddish. Nathan
got a
Lane
lot
was
of
so
ass.
fucking
You
annoying.
get a lot
He
of
was a
blood.
I
quintessential
love Nathan Lane in this.
90s, late 90s fucking trying to be funny, but he's trying way too hard.
That's
I
true.
just, the stuff like that makes me kind of cringe a little. But I mean, if you're going to show it to your kids and, if you want to have like a movie night, I think it's enjoyable. I mean, the hand-drawn parts are really great. Yeah, CGI is kind of rough. Simple, but it's a simple like sci-fi story in that sense. I mean, underrated. I guess I can kind of say kind of underrated. I think people will probably enjoy it. I think it's definitely kind of a cult classic. I think some people would really be like, yeah, they want to show their kids the movie for nostalgia's sake. But yeah, it's all right. It's all right on my book. I don't hate it. There's stuff I don't like, but I think if family night, I think people can sit down and watch it and they'll enjoy it together.
Well, anything else, guys, before we wrap up?
No.
Well, then, guys, thank you, everyone, for listening.
And hit that subscribe button on your podcasting app to make sure you're always notified when a new episode of this show comes out, and continue to hear us babble. And please, if you are willing, give us a rating and a review. It really helps and lets us know what else you'd like to hear from us and this podcast, because we can only get better with your help. Once again, we are the Undercast Company, made up of myself, Ariel, and Sergio Ortiz of Nerd Incorporated. That's Nerd Incorp on Instagram and Twitter. Alan and Fred Torres from
What
District
up?
6.
What up? Also check me out at Discs and Chips. I'm doing a podcast on Twitch.
And Derek McDuff,
Hey,
who I also guest star on his Marvel podcast, Infinity Stones and Dragon Bones, where we discuss everything and anything under the MCU umbrella. And we'll be back soon with another film, so stay tuned, and thanks for being amazing.
see you guys in another life.